More kids are showing up less to school now than during COVID, which isn't a great thing. And we have data here that 20 to 30% reductions in students and absences in parties when you have a music and arts program, at least one of our programs. We have a case study behind it. Look at this. If you invest in the schools and you invest in arts education, you're investing in engagement. And if the kids are engaged, they're going to show up more. And if they show up more, they're going to do better in school.
Hi, and welcome back to the Miami Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Omar De Windt, Communications Executive at Zeira Real Estate. Today, we are talking about the state of philanthropy in Miami, South Florida. Joining me for that conversation is Sammy Gonzalez Zeira, CEO and founder of Young Musicians Unite. Sammy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. As we were talking about just a moment ago, we're going to take a bit of our departure from our regular programming in the sense to talk about an important part of the real estate community, but that's adjacent in that it's the arts and education that's shaping the individuals in the community that we live in, correct?
Yes. Like you're building real estate, but we're building the workforce and the culture that makes it valuable over time.
Your organization, Young Musicians Unite, YMU,
Yes.
is Florida's largest nonprofit provider of free in-school music education, serving students across Miami-Dade County. So impressive. It's amazing work. I would love to hear the story of sort of what it is and why you founded the organization.
I'm born and raised in Miami Beach, product of free music education. Like every opportunity in my life has come because of music. It's opened so many doors, given me like opportunities to perform, be on stage, go to festivals, travel. Couldn't afford that growing up. I have two other brothers, a single mom, and it was difficult. And she couldn't afford to pay for lessons. And I was just so lucky to have the most amazing music teachers in school. And it was different. Back then, you had the titans of industry, these teachers that were there for 30, 40 years. Imagine being in one job, one school, 30, 40 years, the difference you make in kids' lives. And that's changed now. You're seeing teachers there for 3, 4 years. So I was just really lucky to have these father figures, these parental figures who took care of me. My first music teacher was Miss Medic. She's amazing. She's still there. And then Mr. Modia and Nautilus, he retired. Doug Burris at Miami Beach Senior High School, he passed away. A lot of people don't know, but Miami Beach Senior High School had the first high school rock ensemble in American history, founded in 1972
Wow.
by Doug Burris. And if you go to the band show on Miami Beach, you'll see the stage and you'll see his name. And because he created that ensemble, and it's legendary and it still exists to this very day. So I was able to be a part of that. I was able to have music every single day, classical guitar, rock and roll, be with my friends, learn. I worked at the Gap on Lincoln Road also, walked down from Beach High to Lincoln Road, and just born and raised in Miami. And then it's just made such a difference in my life, and it allowed me to get a full ride to college. It allowed me to travel and tour. And at 27, I was a little burnt out from touring, playing rooms of 500, 800 people, sleeping on couches. And I was like, all right, what's next? All right, my back's starting to hurt. And I started to look around. And what I realized is that so many of the programs that changed my life didn't exist anymore or were about to be cut. Because in 2008, after the recession, so many people decided that arts education should be cut. And almost every single middle school music program in Miami was cut. Title I.
Wow.
Title I, our schools were 60% or more on free reduced lunch. So I started to realize that, and I was like, okay, maybe I can make a difference here. And it put fire under me. And all I did was, a woman named Virginia Carr came to me and she said, look, I have these boys. They're awesome. Why don't you just teach them rock and roll, the thing that you've done, for the last few years, and just teach them. So every Sunday we met, taught them rock and roll. They're called Reckless Youth. Jeffrey Miller's son, Miller School of Medicine was in there, Anthony Miller. We had Kana Carr, just great kids. And they started playing rock and roll all over the city, raised $10,000 in the first year.
Oh.
So they wanted to donate it to cancer. I said, cancer is important. But I'm a product of free music education. I wouldn't be here right now teaching your kids if people didn't believe in me. And there's something going on right now, and it's not great. Can we invest this into a school? And he said, no problem. We have a school. It's called the Young Men's Preparatory Academy. It's outside of Wynwood. It's 98% Haitian, all boys, leadership academy, but it's a public school. You should go and start a guitar club there. I said, no problem. So that's where I went into the classroom, and I started teaching guitar. And I have stories for days, but it was such an amazing experience, and that's how Young Musicians Unite started.
just already getting excited, like hearing that backstory, but also at the same time, concerned when you mentioned, the cutting of funding, and obviously led to this huge issue. So let's talk a little bit about the gap that you were seeing in Miami-Dade that led to the model. And actually, if you could explain the model, because you were telling me before we started the four sort of pillars of YMU, I think that's helpful to this
Yeah,
conversation.
of course. So our work is through four pillars. Number one, in-school music education. We're the only in-school music education nonprofit, grades 5 to 12 in Miami-Dade. We work with 75 schools, 12,000 kids every week. In August, we over 16,000 kids, over 100 schools. So aggressive growth. And it's for any child, any level. Our after-school programs are career development skills programs. So we're talking about mentorships, internships, free recording studio that we have in Allapattah. We do over 200 performances a year. And the kids are showing up, they're learning how to do sound, setting up gear, breaking it down. How do you dress? How do you act? Playing cocktail parties to rock and roll festivals, you name it. And they're learning about our community. And it'll be 10 feet from Ken Griffin, which happened 2 weeks ago at the Aspen Institute at the Standard. We have that. And then that ladders up into number three, which is arts access for all students, every child in Miami-Dade, grades K to 12. So we have a partnership with the Miami Foundation. We have a project called Arts Access Miami. We're partnered with 31 of the largest arts education, music education nonprofits in Miami, and we're focused on a community at a time. So we went to Carroll City, 12 schools. That's where we started. 27% of kids had access to music every single week. We paired together, all eight of us, strategically aligned. Instead of having a scarcity mindset, we said we're going to work together and we started to collaborate. We strategically put everyone in different schools. We came together as leadership and started having conversations every single month. And then we measured data the same. We had a music festival, Miami Gardens Youth Music Festival, brought everyone together to show the work. And it was $1.5 million invested each year. And now you fast forward the clock. It went from 28%. Now 81% of kids have access in Miami Gardens. It's 28 schools. It's not 12. There's 11 organizations working together. Instead of investing 1.5 million, we're investing 700,000, but for so much more growth. Why? Because it's the magnifying glass on a community. It's the megaphone effect. We're working together, and other people came into the community, like the Children's Trust and so on, to invest into the area because they saw that we were doing great work. So we're doing this community by community model when it comes to our pillar three. And we did it in Homestead from 14 to 41%. We did it in South Dade, and now we're about to bring it here in our backyard in Central. And it's the idea of bringing people together. Then our fourth pillar is advocacy, data, and policy. We want to see sustainable Miami when it comes to arts education. Billions are spent every year across our country. What we're seeing is the death of arts education in our schools. People keep investing money, but nothing changes. So I keep asking myself, how do we change this? How do we create a Miami where the arts is sustainable, where people are working together? And we're doing that one through data collection at a high level, a mapping system that we've built that's state of the art, world class. And I'll give you an example. We spoke with the head of the DOE because we're going for an appropriation right now. And he asked me, like, what is the work? Like, what is the purpose? I see you want money here to be able to give teachers opportunities to go in schools. Why? And so, well, you're spending billions of dollars on education every year. You're spending millions trying to keep kids in school. And I know that more kids are showing up less to school now than during COVID, which isn't a great thing. And we have data here that 20 to 30% reductions in students and absences and tardies when you have a music and arts program, at least one of our programs. We have a case study behind it. Look at this. If you invest in the schools and you invest in arts education, you're investing in engagement. And if the kids are engaged, they're going to show up more. And if they show up more, they're going to do better in school. So those are the four pillars that we're working on. And we've seen that by doing it that way, we're getting policy changes slowly. We have had a few in the state to certification for teachers to be able to get them in the classroom. But the main goal is $50 million in recurring revenue. So that way, every child in Miami can have access to an arts and music education, every single child, but having the right system behind it that we're building in with all of the arts education nonprofits and not by ourselves. One organization cannot do it alone. And there's 58 arts education organizations in Miami, and the goal is for all of them to work together, lockstep for the whole county, county-wide arts education infrastructure. That's what I'm focused on.
Wow. And how is that going so far?
It's amazing. I have the best job in the world.
But in terms of getting that collaboration between all 51 of those.
So we started with 8, and at first, like, to be honest, it's difficult, right? We met once a month in the beginning in 2019 to 2020. We didn't even know who was who. I couldn't explain what you did. We're all competitive. People didn't like each other. They had stories made up in their head. And now we're friends. We have best practices. We're learning who's good at what. But what we've been seeing is that every single one of the organizations that join us, that they're being built, capacity building, and that their trajectory has only gone up. While people are getting their budgets cut, all of us, our budgets are going up and up and up, and you see this spike. It's because we're working together. It's because we have best practices. So there's a big difference. Is it hard work? Yes, but it's amazing work because people believe it now because they're seeing the difference. They're seeing the data, and now people want to be a part of this. So
Right.
the hardest part is how do you bring in everyone into the fold without just giving everyone money, right? Because we are funding organizations by working together. So that's a bridge we have to cross, but one day at a time.
Sure. So let's talk about how access to music education then impacts communities long term.
When you have a community, so Young Musicians Unite doesn't just do a school by school growth. It's not the way we work. We'll look at a community and it's a feeder pattern. So a feeder pattern means multiple elementaries, 2 or 3 middle schools, and 1 high school. We have 29 of those in Miami-Dade, the third largest school district in America. So when we go and we invest in the community, that's what we call it investing. We're not just giving music. When we invest in the community, we're investing in every single one of those schools. And we do that on purpose. So that way a kid can have a pipeline from elementary to high school. So that way when they pick up an instrument, they can continue it. And with that, you're seeing the community come together through performances, festivals. You'll have principals say, I saw a mother come and she saw her child in a different light. She couldn't believe that was her child on stage playing instruments, so disciplined and confident. And you take it to the next level, we have school choice, which is fantastic. You can go to any school you want, but you have to get there.
Mm.
So if you're raised by your grandmother or one parent or two parents that are working 2 jobs, they can't drive you there. So what does that mean? You're looking for opportunity outside of your community, which is good for you. But how do you get there? You're taking 2, 3 buses. Is that safe? What does that look like? Or parents sacrificing, maybe not working as those longer hours that they need to pay the bills just to get their kid to school, which is amazing that people do that. But why not create opportunity within a community? And that's what we're doing. Is saying you should stay in your community because of look at all this opportunity. Look at this career readiness opportunity, skills, development that we are building by partnering with other organizations, by giving them these community orchestra or social awareness with hip hop and whatever it works for us because we will be genre specific depending on the demographic and what they want.
Hmm.
They're learning how to read music, and that is important. But we're also making sure they like bachata, they like hip hop. They're going to get some of that too because we want them
Right.
engaged. But the goal is we need people to want to stay in their community and to grow their community, and also when they go to college, not to leave their community. We have this exodus of talent
Right.
just going to New York. I know we're hearing it backwards, but the youth, the 18-year-olds that are talented and they're artists, a lot of them are getting full rides because New York knows that these kids are talented and are giving them the scholarships, which is amazing, life changing for them. But we're losing them because we don't have the infrastructure here in Miami to support them. They don't see this as a viable place to be able to have a career.
Right. And so what can real estate developers and business leaders in the community do to sort of help address that?
We have to remember that, and I said it in the beginning, that you're building like Miami is in this beautiful place right now. There's so much investment, there's so much change, and it's great. And there's also, there's the negatives, but I see it as a positive. Someone born and raised, like this is the Miami I've always wanted to see. But we have an opportunity to build that Miami together. And what we have to remember is that at the end of the day, when we look at staples like Art Basel, and we look at staples like Ultra, they bring in people and they see our community and they realize how amazing it is. Not only does it bring in dollars, but it brings in people in the eyes. That's what the arts does. It's the pinnacle of success for our community. And then they want to move here. They want to invest here. They want to be a part of that.
Mhm.
So a big part of it is we should be investing in that arts education infrastructure in middle school and high school. It shouldn't just be, oh, you're an adult. Now you're just a professional. What happened? You have to invest earlier to do that. So if we want Miami to actually not just import our creatives, but we should have homeborn
Hmm.
creatives. So that's one of the things. So how do you do that? You do that by there's a lot of right now tax regulations and new things where they're like if you partner with a nonprofit and you build a space, maybe give them $1 a month rent. Like there's a lot of ideas being thrown out. But can we do that? Can we invest in venues? Can we invest in arts education in school? But we need to understand that arts is so important to the economy, but it's also important to the kids and their well-being and them being engaged in school. So I'll give you one example. Not only am I CEO founder of Musicians United nonprofit, I'm also a partner in a for-profit called the Wynwood School of Music. So Wynwood School of Music is located 29th, Northwest 12th, and Northwest 13th. So Alapata, you can call it West Wynwood one day, who knows, you know. But when we first went there, I had a developer, not a developer, maybe had someone who owned a few of the buildings, and they said, "Look, the street's empty." And I looked at it. They saw an empty street. I saw just potential. And they said, "Hey, all your clients come from Miami Beach. We'll give you a sweetheart deal. We'll give you a loan to build out your school here in the middle of this building, and we can build around you. And that way, clients can come. You don't have to pay us interest, pay us back as you can. Build your business here, so that way you don't have to go house to house playing, teaching guitar anymore. Stabilize Young Musicians Unite, grow it, and we want to bring arts here because we feel like that's what this community needs more than anything." So we did that. We built the school. We have students coming for private lessons, playing rock and roll. We had the offices for Young Musicians Unite. And guess what? Every single area started to get rented out one by one by one. And now you go on that street and every single place is rented out. And there's cars everywhere. And it's a totally different feeling. And it's only the beginning of that feeling.
Right.
And that's because someone who owned the building realized the importance of the arts and how the arts can make a community flourish. So now the next part of that is how do you ensure that when the community grows and becomes unaffordable, that the arts is part of the institutional, like part framework of that community. It's like, thank you, sir. Have a nice day. Go take a hike. Go to Homestead now.
Hmm.
Right. So that's the thing that I'm looking at and trying to fix. So like we're having those conversations now. You looked at Wynwood. They used to have art walk. There was over 68 or to
I
80
remember that.
galleries.
Second Saturday, right?
Yeah, second Saturday. Amazing. I was single then. I would go there to go meet girls. It's awesome. And you would go, this was before the dating apps, right? So you would go there, you had to talk to people. It was a different world. You couldn't just, type on your phone and all of a sudden. So, you'd go there and 60 to 80 galleries, just two or three now.
Galleries?
That's it. The place that flourished because of art does not have art. And you have to ask yourself, is that okay?
Hmm.
And we're not asking for a free ride, for a free pass, but I think we have to acknowledge the importance of the art and that when we pay for things, when you have a party, you pay for an artist. When you can't celebrate life without music, without art. It does not exist. There's no partying without art and without music. So if that is the pinnacle of success, then why are we not investing in each community to say, you know what? They brought the people in. They can't just raise their prices and compete with the Gap or all these other stores or a bar. So this is important to us. So let's make sure we have one or two art galleries. Let's make sure we have one venue. And I believe that as our community grows, it's going to be more clustered together. And it's more like live local. Right now everyone's traveling area to area. Look at Brickell, and I feel like that's in a lot of ways the future of Miami, where it's just like the traffic's so bad, we have terrible transportation. So it's like, how do you have everything in your community, your school, your food, your places to go out, your venue, all that community by community. And I feel like that's what Miami's growing towards. See Coconut Grove, see Miami Beach, which needs a lot of work. You'll see South Miami now growing by Sunset Mall. Like that's crazy what's happening over there.
Right.
Right. So it's like, how do you do that? But then how do you also keep and make a nod to the infrastructure that helped parts of that flourish? And then like just build in a little bit of it. And that's the thing that I would say.
With the public school system, you mentioned, when you came back and part of the impetus was a lot of the programs that helped you while you were there were cut. I think you mentioned around the financial crisis timing was that. So what is the state of equitable access to music now in the school system? I mean, it's the third largest school system in the U.S., you said. Are there schools that are doing it well? They're not doing it at all? Like, I do agree, by the way, that education is one of the biggest challenges that we're facing as a community, aside from like the mass transit issue, which is a conversation we had recently here on the podcast. But so anyway, a long way to say, like, what is the state of the access to music here?
There's just so many different things. So before 2008, when you looked at Miami-Dade public school systems, there was like 5 or 6 different people there working to ensure that there was high quality arts. That's one person. His name is Patricio Suarez. He is the supervisor of music and arts for all of Miami-Dade, like 392 schools. It's wild. He's a brilliant man. He can name you every teacher at every school, top of your head, and tell you what they're teaching and the level they're teaching, which is amazing. But that went from a 5, 6 person team down to a 1 person show. And once again, you used to have teachers that were there for 30, 40 years. Now they're there for 3, 4 years. What happens when they leave?
It's like starting over and no continuity.
So I'll give you a backstory of why I fell into this love into this work. So I went to Young Men's Preparatory Academy. I'm teaching these kids guitar. And at first I went in thinking that I'm a classical guitar player, rock and roll musician. So I went in. I'm gonna take us on a tangent. I went in.
Let's do it.
And I'm like, I'm going to teach these kids classical guitar. It's going to be so great. It's going to be so easy. And after 2 classes, just different demographic, group instead of one-on-one. It's not kids paying to be there. And I walked away. I was like, oh, wow, I'm failing. I'm failing here. How do I do this? This is so hard. This is so different. But I knew when I strummed my guitar, like the bull style, Spanish bull style, they turned like, oh, what's that, right? So I made a promise. I said, guys, you need to learn how to read music. I will write you music in the Spanish style and just strum the guitar. And they was like, okay. And if you learn how to read the first 2 strings, then I will teach you Holy Grail by Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z. We're going to meet halfway. You should have seen them light up like a Christmas tree. I didn't know why they were lighting up at the time, but then I figured out later. But they lit up like a Christmas tree. They were excited. I said, deal. 2 weeks later, they were reading. I had them locked in. I figured it out. I met them where they were at. And I said, okay, sir, Mr. Sammy, ready for Holy Grail. I go home, I print out the lyrics, and I realize why they're laughing. Every other word's a curse word. And I'm like changing the words up by hand. I'm putting in bigger and whatever I can to make this work. I promised them I'm not going to change the song. Took it to them. They learned it. They were excited. We got to the performance. They're on stage. They're performing. Parents are excited. I'm seeing the kids spinning on their heads. And I was like, wow, this works. Like, this happened. They learned how to read music. They played the songs I wrote for them, Spanish dance. I'm building curriculum for them because they didn't want to play When the Saints Go Marching In, which is a little star. I don't blame them. So it's a little bit Miami. And then they played Holy Grail. And then that's been our motto ever since. So you fast forward, and now I get it. The in-school music teacher leaves. All the equipment in school got stolen. All the equipment. And the principal was faced with a decision. He said, I need to cancel the music program because I can't afford to buy all the instruments. I was like, okay, I'll help you fundraise for that. And Karen Fried, Virginia Carr, we started fundraising and we were able to buy the instruments. But I said, on the condition that we help you inventory the instruments, we help you hire the next music teacher. Because this is a jazz and drumline program. You can't hire an orchestra teacher because music is music to them, but it's not. Because there's kids on College Pathway. And there's 8 kids in your school that are on College Pathway. And I don't have time after school anymore because I'm too busy. Give me one class during the school day where I can work with them and teach them jazz because I want to make sure they go to college for music. But that was the fire that locked me in. Now I can fast forward and I can look back 13 years later. That was the best decision ever. Out of those 8 kids, 4. One went to a full ride at Berkeley.
Wow.
The other one, Manhattan School of Music on trumpet. FSU on trombone. Another one stayed local, Miami-Dade College on drums. 4 of those 8 kids became musicians, but I saw something in them. And you're asking yourself, am I doing the right thing? Am I making a difference? Does this matter? I'm lucky now that I just made a decision. Hey, Sam, you're just going to keep showing up for just these kids. If you don't do anything else, you go and stay for these kids. Did that and continued to make it grow beyond that. So that's what pulled me into this work. But what was your question that brought me on this tangent?
What is the state of the school system now? It was a great tangent, but
So the state of the school system is exactly that, is that teachers stay for 3 to 4 years, and then when the new teacher comes in, all of his kids are scattered, or her kids are scattered. The advanced kids are not put in the right class. So now they have to figure out how to keep those kids after school so that way they have an advanced program. And then the advanced kids are kept off college track. They're with all these beginners. They're going, what am I doing in this class? They are now not motivated anymore to be there. The other thing is instruments are stolen or broken. So what do they do with that? They don't have a budget. They don't know the parents. They don't know the PTSA. Can't just go magic wand. How do I pay for that? So now they don't have instruments. They don't have money for that. Now they want to do a show and they want to do that. You need marketing, you need production, you need all of that. They don't have that either. So now they're working, plus they're working after school for free, plus they're dropping instruments off and fixing them, plus they're fundraising, plus they're a marketing expert, plus they're CEO of the classroom.
Hmm.
It's so difficult. So they're leaving. And then after 3 to 4 transitions, the program dies because the principal's like, this is too expensive. This isn't working. So what we're doing is bringing in that consistency. We're the consistent force. Teacher comes, teacher goes. We celebrate them like we celebrate the kids graduating. Thank you so much for your time and service. Make sure the next teacher gets to school, gets the culture that whenever anything happens in the school, there's music. Award ceremony, someone comes, doesn't matter. Kids play for kids, inspire children. So the state of is that you have teachers coming and going, and you're not going to fix that problem. But what we have done is created an infrastructure to be able to work through that transition. A lot of people, but the thing is, we're not in every school yet.
How many schools are you in?
Right now, we're in 75. We'll be in 105 this fall, but there's 392 schools.
So like 30%.
30%. 255 will be Title I. Those are the ones that 60% or more are free reduced lunch. So we have a goal. It's every child, but right now we want to focus on the most vulnerable. And the kids that if we go and give them music, it's going to make a difference in their life because their mom can't afford to pick them up early. So where are they going after school? What are they doing? And also in school. And the other state of is music is not seen equal to math, science, and English. And I mean that in the fact that it is on a federal level. It's mandated that way, but no one actually carries that out. And so if you're in a music class and you love it, it's a thing that keeps you going to school, but you're not doing good in math, they're going to penalize you by pulling you out of that music class and putting you in double math. So now the thing that kept you going to school, they just took it from you.
Right.
So now instead of being in a safe space where you're able to have your friendships and mentorships and like it's an expressive class, right? Like you are working together with other people and expressing yourself. It's not sit down, be quiet, don't say anything, yes or no answers. That's it. Raise your hand before you speak. You're right or wrong. That is our education system, for better or for worse. It is what it is, but that's not the way you work. When you're in a workplace, it isn't sit down, be quiet. This is exactly how you do your job. There's only right and no answers. Yes, sir. You're going to fire that person because it's like, I'm babysitting you. You're not working. You need someone at least creative enough that they understand how to be social with the people around them. They know how to be part of the culture, that we're all going towards this one goal, but everyone has different parts to that goal, and we're all working together. And you have to be at least a little bit creative to be able to help yourself so you can, have initiative, right? Like, start to think, like, what does this place need? We don't want too much creativity in our workforce, but we have a goal, and we want to be able to hit our KPIs, right? Music class, arts class is the only class during the school day that does that. The other classes are important. They give you structure. They give you boundaries. You have to learn how to read, write, and math. It's all important.
Mm.
But what I hear over and over from people in the business world is that these kids don't have soft skills, or they don't know how to work together, or they don't know how to be creative enough. Where I have to like literally tell them everything to do, and like this doesn't work for me. Like I'm an entrepreneur. I'm building a business here. I don't have to go too much outside the box, but they got to be able to tie their own shoes.
Right.
So music instills that in you. It's discipline. It's confidence. It's skills building. And it's not the most important thing in school, but it's one of the pillars. So I see it as 4 pillars there too. You want to take that. It's arts, it's math, science, and English. And I think when we stop punishing children for doing bad in school and taking away the arts, I think it's the opposite. When a kid's not doing good in math, I think you should give them more music and more arts and tell them they're doing good at something. They're great. And because that's what kids need. They need confidence. And then you give them that double math after school if you need to, but don't take something away from them that they love. And I've seen that. I've seen it as a punishment, and I've had to fight for kids, but I'm not in the classroom like I used to be. I can't, right? I'm running a company with over 150 people, 32 full time, W-2s. Like, it's a large company at this point, and we're only a quarter, 30% of where we need to be.
So what kinds of partnerships have been most impactful for YMU in this endeavor?
There's so many different partnerships and different layers. It's like an onion. So, number one, I have to give credit to the people's homes that we're in, which is Miami-Dade Public Schools. The superintendent that we have right now is amazing. He is humble. He's brilliant in my opinion, and he loves partnership. So he sees it differently. He's reaching out to us. We're working with him. We have a working group with his whole cabinet. We meet quarterly. We broke it up into 8 groups: transportation, conversations, education, access to schools, grant writing, all of that. Because he believes in partnership. He believes in our work because we're working with 31 arts education organizations. We're making it easy for him to streamline paperwork. Like, so we have a great partnership with the superintendent and the current administration, and that has like moved mountains. We have an LOU where we have a 5-year agreement of how we're growing across the whole county, which is an historic agreement. It hasn't been seen before. This project, what I'm saying, 31 Arts Org, it's the largest collective impact project in the U.S., especially in the arts. And this agreement is the first of its kind. What is collective impact? It means that people in one field are all working together to solve a problem. And then if you're solving that problem together, and instead of having the scarcity mindset of competition, but working together, you can go farther. So we have this model that we're developing here in Miami, and it's Arts Access Miami, and it's world renowned. People are calling us from LA. They have Prop 22 or Prop 28, $1 billion a year, but they don't know how to spend the money, where to go. Everyone's fighting over it, and they wish they had the infrastructure. We're getting calls from LA, getting calls from New York. People are like, what is the thing that you're doing here? This model is brilliant. And we're sharing with them about work by committee and coalitions. So we have partnerships with Miami Foundation, which is Arts Access Miami. We have partnerships with the Children's Trust, Miami-Dade Cultural Affairs, different people at different levels, institutionally, because everyone's trying to do the same thing. We're trying to build a better Miami. Frederick Toluca Foundation has recently made an investment of $2 million a year for 5 years. Daniel Lewis, which comes from Progressive Auto Insurance family, has made an investment a little over $2 million, $2.5 million per year. So we're getting people in 5 years also. We're getting people giving multi-year gives because we see it, we're building the infrastructure. So those are partnerships that we love and behold. And then there's other partnerships like 1RPM. So if you're an artist and you release music, you got to put it on the platforms you can end up on Apple Music and Spotify and all of that. So we have a partnership with 1RPM. Every single one of our children get a free subscription with them. They don't have to pay every time they put a song up. We don't have to pay for them. They get their songs on everything. And then at the end of the day, the kids, if they get paid, they get paid. We're not taking money from them. We're not paying them. They're getting paid on their streams, on their plays and everything. And then 1RPM also donates every single year. So that's a great partnership locally. We're now talking with BMI. How do we get all of our kids into publishing and pro? And doing that, Miami is the center of the universe right now, in my eyes, and all eyes on us. So how can we take care of our children and make sure that they're being taken care of with the BMI, with 1RPM, learning how to do mechanical royalties? So it's a lot of great partnerships, but all of them are in the pursuit of just opening doors and deleting and getting rid of all the barriers of entry. Recording studio is expensive. It also smells like weed. You don't want a kid in there. You know how many parents call me? Thank God for your studio. I try to take them over there and want $100 an hour. The engineers don't care about my child, and it reeks of pot. And I feel like such a bad parent because I'm taking my kid to this place, but I have no other place to go. Thank you for the YMU studio. Thank you for doing this, which is a clean environment where the engineer loves my kid and they care about the success and the future of my child. Because of that, we have people like Lily Kaplan, who got a publishing deal with Universal, and she wrote with Ice Spice. You did it first. She's on the radio, and she has song after song after song. Or Ceci Leon, who got nominated for Best New Artist in Latin Grammys with Darumas. We have Amber Diaz, who got on a cover of People magazine Espanol. So it's like our kids are growing. Things are happening. But then every single one of those person that I just mentioned left Miami. One's in LA, one's in New York, right? So it's like we have these great homeborn stories, and we're seeing people leave. I never left. I toured, but I never left. And I never left because I saw the potential of Miami and I love this city and I want to be a part of its growth and a part of its shaping. And we have brilliant people coming in here and the best minds, and they want to see the great Miami. And I appreciate that they're letting us have our fingerprints on this growth and on this architecture and growing. You have Ken Griffin, who's investing heavily, and now you have Jeff Bezos, and you have Larry Page, and all these great people. And they're asking, what does a great Miami look like? And I appreciate that. That's why I never left. I didn't know that this would happen, but I always knew something would happen, and that when it grew and accelerated, I would want to be part of that change and be part of helping make sure that the DNA of Miami stayed in Miami, but we can grow into something bigger and better. And I asked myself, what does Miami want to be? Not what do we want Miami to be, but is what do Miami want to be? Because it does want to grow up. But we still need our rice and beans and our Cubans and like I come from, my dad's from Cuba, mom's from Israel, right? Like, and from there, they're from Iraq and Baghdad and had to escape to Israel. And it's just like Miami's special. It's just all these different people and all these different religions and all these different parties. And that's culture. And backed by that is music, different sounds from different people and different communities.
It seems like, and hats off to you, you guys are making tremendous progress if you have markets like New York and LA looking here to sort of model what Miami is doing, what you are doing and your organization. So I think there's reason to be encouraged and optimistic then that things are going in the right direction in collaboration with the superintendent and with these other organizations and investment from these mega sort of titans like you just mentioned. I hope that investment's coming into YMU as well, right? Or you just meant in general. So that's great. You guys also put on a gala, I understand, or you put on a gala recently that raised a tremendous amount of money for the organization. But can you talk a little bit about what role events like that play in the community, and also how those that are listening can give back and sort of be part of that effort?
We do a gala every year, but it's a little different. 'Cause, people think about gala and it sounds boring, and I don't want to go. We throw a party, and it's a great party. It's at Manor Winwood where they have 3 points. It's amazing. And our goal was $2 million, and we hit that. Over 900 people, sold out event. Every year we sell out. And it's an opportunity to showcase the kids at a really high level. And you feel like you're at the Oscars, you feel like you're at the Grammys, but it's a celebration of us as a community, but also of our children and putting them on that stage. And it's just so high level, it's so professional. And I'm just so proud of all the work every single year and the outpouring of local business becoming sponsors and the outpouring of individuals buying tables and being there, paying for the silent auction, doing paddle raise and donating in the moment because they care about the mission. They care that we want to go from 12,000 to 16,000 students every single week this fall. So the gala is one of the means to an end for us to fundraise, but it's also a way to celebrate. It's a celebration at the end of the year. And that way we're able to showcase the work that we're doing and let people know also about our stories. We keep it uplifted and fun, but we also let people know what is the state of the arts in our schools.
Which is important work. And what what can people do then specifically to help? I mean, do you have fundraising throughout the year online, or is that these events?
Yeah, so YMU.org, you can learn about us. Look, if you have a foundation, we have an amazing grant writer, we can do that. If you want to sponsor, we do over 200 shows, festivals, you can sponsor that and be part of the community. So it's not just you giving money and feeling good, but it's also giving money being part of something.
Hmm.
And then if you really want to up level that, we love partnerships. I mentioned 1RPM. This is a business and they're able to integrate it into what we do with YMU and also donate at a high level.
Hmm.
So if you want to be part of the fabric of the community and get back, we can be creative here. We don't want to do things that are off mission. We're very focused. But we ask ourselves, like even with BMI, for example, right now we're going through the exercise of, great, you sponsored us 2 years in a row. How can we be a better partner for you? How do we institutionalize this across and do this at scale? And we're running into things like, well, we got to set up a bank account, but like then the parents have to sign off and then you have to do that. They're great. Let's get a bank partnership. So now we're talking with First Horizon, right? So it's like,
Hmm.
I never thought that we would be talking about at scale partnerships with First Horizon and BMI and like in one for him because it's a ripple effect because it's infrastructure for the community for the
Right.
success of our kids. But if you want to give back to your community and to the culture and to invest in that, invest with Young Musicians Unite. And you're not donating, you're investing. You're investing in the future, into the
Right.
children that are coming up, into the infrastructure of the schools, all kids, and that's what we're focused on.
Can you share a story that Sammy that impacts or sorry that captures the sort of impact of your work?
There's always one story I go back to, and it humanized the work that I do. 'Cause I kept asking myself, so the first semester of doing this work, I would drive to the school and keep asking myself, am I making a difference? Does this matter? I have imposter syndrome, so busy and scattered, figuring out my life. Like, do these kids care about me? Like, am I just silly for doing this? And I remember at the end of the first semester, 'cause we started in spring and I was getting ready for summer. And this boy, Patrick Johnson, came to me and he said, Mr. Sammy, will you be coming back in the fall? And without hesitation, I said, of course I am. You just see his smile and he was so happy about that. And what I realized in that moment is that so many people come into these students' lives and they make so many promises because they think it's going to be easy. And when they realize how difficult it's going to be, they just bail and don't say goodbye, empty promises. So for me in that moment, I said, I'm just going to keep showing up. That's all I'm going to do. It's just this school. That's fine in the moment. But I'm going to keep showing up for this child and for these children because they want me to be here because so many people just leave. And if I make a difference, great. If I don't, at least I'm having a little bit of fun. And for me, I kept showing up, and it's 13 years later, and it's going to be our bar mitzvah this year, right?
Huh.
And you feel that, and you feel that growth. And I go back to those stories of me being in the classroom and a difference. And that child, he got a full ride to University of North Florida on bass. And I remember he would ask me for a bass every day, and I would teach him guitar. And I remember after 6 months, I bought him a bass, and I gave it to him, and he was so happy. And something changed in him, and he started to practice and became disciplined. That's a long story, but you're able to see the trajectory and the changes of these kids' lives. But people will talk about how you changed the kid's life, but they changed my life. Because as they grew, I grew. I grew into a leader, grew into teaching people how to teach as we continue to grow, how to create a company around this where we can do this at scale. Now, the only other job I ever had in my life was Gap on Lincoln Road, 3 years as a cashier. And then I taught guitar privately, house to house. And now own two recording studios, run the largest music education nonprofit, second largest in the country. I have a school, Winwood School of Music. But and we're like, well, how do you focus on that? It's like, I don't. I focus on Young Musicians Unite. That's what I focus on. Like, that is the thing that I care about because of the mission, the stories, everything else is just built out as my goal is the kids should never outgrow what we do.
Mm.
So it's like things grow because of that. And then we allow them to be managed by someone who like loves it and they do that. And I was like, all right, that's a great idea. Made it, built it. Here you go. You own it. But let me keep focusing on this mission, which is so grand and large, which is every child in Miami, third largest school district in America, creating a system that can be the pinnacle of success for all of Miami, all eyes on us. So that way, we have sustainable arts education here. We can build the system of collaboration and people working together and the data behind it and the mapping. So that way, one day, when I'm not sitting here anymore, we know that was mission accomplished. One of my mentors is David Lawrence. He created the VPK program that you have now for every child in Florida. He created the Children's Movement, which is Children's Trust, $222 million this year. It's one of my mentors. And it's just like, it's sustainability. That is the goal. And if we create this citywide, countywide arts education infrastructure where there's $50 million a year recurring revenue and it's spent properly because people are working together, we're not just pissing money into a bucket, then that'll be the first time we've actually solved this problem in America in any major city. And take that model and you can scale it outside. It's not for me to scale. Um, I love Miami. I'm going to stay in Miami. But there's smarter, better people out there that can take that and scale that. And that's what we're doing. And we're building this model. We have open IP on it. We're slowly going to keep showing people how we're doing our work. So that way they can take it and they can continue to take that outside of Miami.
Well, my hat's off to you in 13 years, and 30% or so of market share, let's say, in terms of impacting kids' lives, and all this because music teacher and a music program was there for you when you needed it. I think that speaks to the work. You kind of teased at what's next as you continue to grow, but is there anything else that, or what else is next for YMU? I know you want 100% of sort of being able to touch the market, but what's next in the immediate future?
You know, 100% of kids doesn't mean they have to play, but 100% of kids having access and having opportunity means that for that to be true, it means we live in a world where government, philanthropy, and organizations, local, state funding, federal, are all aligned on the importance of arts education. And we've done a great job telling our story eloquently. We've done it with data and in different ways that everyone's excited. And we've come together on one problem, we solved it. That's what it looks like to do that. And when we pull that off, it's not just a model for arts, it's a model for each sector, for transportation, for homelessness. It's collective impact. And that's what we're pushing here. So it's not selfishly what is YMU going to do. It's what are we doing as a community to come around the community together to solve a problem so we can do it more quickly, more effectively, more efficiently with less dollars. Because strategy and conversations and knowing who is where moves the needle the most.
Well said, and we hope to be able to help you spread that message. Final thoughts for our listeners before I let you go?
Thank you for having me here. I love Miami, and I just want to see cafecitos and all that continues. So let's keep it going.
I like it. I love it. We're going to leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Sammy Gonzalez Zeira, CEO and founder of YMU, Florida's largest nonprofit provider of free in-school music education. So we invite you to check out their website, ymu.org, help them be part of the cause, and let's make a real impact in this amazing community that we're all blessed to call home. If there's any place, any city in the world that can solve that problem, I think Miami is the one that can do it, Sammy.
I think, no, we will solve the problem. There's no I think. It's not if, it's when.
You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Manifest it, baby.
Yes.
All right, folks, make sure to thank you for listening and being here with us. Make sure to share this episode, comment, let us know what you think. Like, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We will be back soon with another episode. But until then, remember that here in Miami, the future is always bright. Take care, folks.